Hello and welcome into the SorareAndrews show. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdino on Sorare, joined as always by Andy Black. Today, talk about how we are going to take this game back and get our W's. Isn't that right, Andy?
Yeah. What do you mean, get our W's?
I have no idea. I was going to ask if you had a pitchfork out ready.
I don't know if I own a pitchfork.
Wow.
I mean, that's kind of a weird thing to own unless you're baling hay, right?
I mean, you live in the Midwest of the U.S. Isn't that what you guys do?
Do you own a pitchfork?
No.
Okay.
No.
I own a rake.
A couple of them.
Yeah.
Plastic or metal?
I have both. No. They're both metal, but one is like the cheap aluminum at the bottom, and then one is like steel, and it will like you
it's
can
heavy
use
as
that.
hell.
Yeah.
What is this?
Got to really get into that dirt and
really pull out. Yeah, I get it. Thanks everyone for coming in, Halligan, Malky, and Palma on the podium. Congratulations, you three. Halligan giving us the W right away. You're welcome. Yeah, thank you for that. Anion, what's up? Mikey Baston in the house. Oh, I see what he did here. Double U. Get it? 2 U's? Because I always thought that was weird. Anyway, Smooth Boy said, I needed a W, and what looks like pulling $30 from the Champion Special feels like it. I didn't even know there was cash in there. I really needed any sort of positive feeling toward the game lately, so this is small but big for me. That seems good. Ricardo said, got my first big W this weekend. First place in Challenger D2 Limited. Man, that's a hard competition to win, too. Congratulations, Ricardo. Dan said, priorities first. What was the Sorare After Dark tease from last week's Sorare Data Show? Is there an episode tonight? Andy, is there an episode of Sorare After Dark tonight?
There is. There is tonight at, I believe, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central Time. Will be complete nonsense.
I will drop the link into the chat here. I'll see you guys there in the chat. Although I was just saying to Andy, I'll be a little late. But yeah, we're back. No, we're back. You're back. Anyway. Ryan Dean, you said, desperately hoping the W is for win in this case. Yeah, I guess so. Is it Winnebago? You ever had a Winnebago? Or been in one?
Never been in one, never had one.
Alrighty. Moving on. Soraburo, what's up? Palmo said, I, for one, am fed up with a constant... Andy, do you use this word? Whinging? Is that it?
It looks like winning.
It's not whining, but it means that. But anyway, be constructive and strive to improve for sure, but it's getting way over the top now. Agreed.
Oh, I didn't know OTT was over the top.
I don't know why that just came out. I think it is, but I didn't even think about it. I've never used it, but anyway.
I think you got it.
Mike's wondering if you ever tried it.
No. What would I look like?
Aquaman
or something? Like the guy that plays, what's that guy's name?
If you said it, I would know, but yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
He plays the same role. If there is anyone who's ever been typecast, it's that guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, Felipe, what's up? Yippee ki! I found me bored. Podiuming every game week. Huh? Yippee ki has had some nice podiums, though. I will say that. Anyway, major NFT. Daniel, MLS Sora Scout. SorareAndrews Home Improvement Special. Do we do that like going over the fence like we're
Wilson?
You beat me to it. Anyway, Skazma said, I'm closer to getting the axe out than the pitchfork. I'm not sure what that means. Like is an axe more?
I think more you use the pitchfork as like a threat of violence. The axe is actually
just full. Is the actual violence?
Yeah.
Okay. Sora Scout said W is for Wumbo.
Is that a word?
I'm not sure. Skate Pros, we need a W from Black saying we are in a dip. That's a W. Jason Momoa is Aquaman. Thank you, Pico Player.
That's right.
I would have never gotten that. Like I knew it as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, but like nah, never.
What's killing me is I was trying to think of his character name in Game of Thrones, and that's what was. Somebody will hit us up with that.
Yes, I got nothing on that one though. I think I've only seen like 3/4 of the first season. of Game of Thrones.
You need to just go ahead and do it.
I know, but it's almost like I'm intimidated by the commitment. Because
yeah,
I mean,
but it's very bingeable, and you'll get through it.
Oh, I loved it. I just like at some point it was like it dropped out of the rotation. I don't watch a lot of TV by myself. My wife, just not her kind of show. So it's like, yeah. Anyway, Andy, what did you mean by this? We need a W. Yeah.
Like I didn't mean it like, hey, Laird needs a podium, Black needs a podium.
Yeah.
I meant it more as like, as a community, we need a W right now. I feel like a lot of the changes that we've gotten over the last 6-9 months have been like probably great successes for Sorare from like a sustainability standpoint. But like, when was the last time that we got us a W?
So I tried to think of this from Sorare's point of view, and maybe not even Sorare's point of view, but man, how do I be nice about this?
Just say it.
So I find that some of the responses we get from people at Sorare about certain things are like either A, like, no, you're actually winning a lot more than you think you are, or like B, it's actually not that bad, or something like that. And for the most part, they're probably right in certain things that like we were really complaining and they're like, hey, but like, isn't it really? And you're like, yeah, I guess, but like, come on.
It's like this, Laird. Like if you ask them what was the last like community W, they'd be like, oh, when we did the closeout sale on the club shop.
Oh, God.
Like that's the type of thing that they or like, oh, we put someone on a plane with Christian Pulisic.
So I was going to say it was actually going to be much worse, that they were going to be like, don't you realize how great Essence was for like months? And you're complaining about that now? And it's like, this was never present. Like I see that response coming. They were like, it was so good. Yeah. We had to cut it by half. and our response is like, there was nothing ever that was like, hey, you better appreciate this now because it's not going to stay this way. Even though there was like the little bit of, we'll have to adjust. And so I feel like their miscalculations will be presented as our W.
Yeah.
And now we just have to live with the consequence of that W is now an L.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. I think what triggered me to like ask you to make this the topic was mostly the I guess the Essence nerf. Is that what we're calling that?
That's the only word I've heard people use about it.
It just feels bad.
Well, a nerf never feels good.
I mean, we talked about good nerfs.
Well, I guess you take one in the temple, it still doesn't feel good though.
I don't know. You could sock me with a Nerf ball right now on the side of the temple, and I don't think I'd feel it.
But it's not a good thing.
Well, that's what they were designed for. That they were designed.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
You know,
that's a good question about like what the actual, because it's not like the point of the company is to please us.
Sure, but it kind of is.
But it kind of is, yeah.
Yeah. Like I would go back and look at the last like year and a half and just see if you could list off the W's. And like I think that the like collection stuff was a W. I think Rivals is. But that's the other part of those like wins for us is like they're short-lived. Like they don't expand upon them. They don't build upon them. They have a tiny bit with Rivals maybe, but like they added squads. I kind of like that. Now it's kind of like it's drying up again.
So
it's like, how do they keep it fresh?
I think the issues that of the examples you just used, because I think they were wins, is that it's not that they kind of dried up. Like it's not like we got the win and then we kind of got bored. Like we got the win and they literally like rolled them back. Like meaning Rivals was really fun because like the rewards were good.
Yeah.
And then they were like squads, and we have rewards and squads, and we were like, wow, that's really cool. And they're like, whoa, maybe too much fun. Let's pull these back a little bit. And now, like, the enthusiasm that I saw for Rivals. Now, granted, I never had this enthusiasm. However, the enthusiasm for Rivals was legit from people who have been on this platform forever. People were buying cards. Sean Newsham was buying cards for Rivals for a time. Then we got squads, and people were really excited about that. And then this reward adjustment, and every single group I am in that was excited about Rivals literally is just like, I can't deal. Like, it's just not, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. I think what got me was Dylan and I have a mutual friend that's been building a Newcastle in-season limited team. And I was talking to him the other night, and he's like, yeah, I think I'm just going to sell it all. Cause like, and he hasn't even like completed the team yet, but he has some expensive pieces, and he'd really been grinding Rivals and been selling either cards that he had been winning or crafting and whatnot. And he was just like, he's like, Rivals just isn't, it's not even worth doing anymore. It's a waste of my time. And he was like the prime person that you'd want to onboard, and like you had him 90% of the way. And now he's talking about selling them all. And I was like,
Do you make any argument to stay?
No, I don't. That's one thing that I've never really done with like friends and family regarding Sorare is like, because it's a financial thing. Like I don't tell a friend to buy a stock.
Yeah.
I don't. And like Sorare is especially volatile and risky, and so I like I've never really shilled it to people. Like
Sure.
I'll talk about it and talk about it in ways that like put it in a positive light, but it's not shilling. I won't shill it.
What about just friendly conversations about the love of this game, man?
Absolutely, I will do that, but I won't be like, hey man, you got to get on. You got to come play this game. You're gonna make so much money. We'll not do that.
Won't make money or won't do that.
And the weird part about that too, Laird, is like now with the way end season is like set up, it's probably the most like predictable, like as far as like what you can win if you're good, and you do well. So I think that it's like sustainable from like that entry perspective. Like you're not coming on and just being like, hey, don't worry, just buy whatever and your cards will 10x in a month. That's not like the expectation is you come on and you compete and you do really well. You can win money.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still not something I'm gonna go around shilling to people. Do we
This
need
is
more
slightly
shills?
different, but for something you said, like reminded me of it. But basically, I think there was a time that, well, we know that there was a time where if you bought a card, the odds were significantly in your favor that you'd be able to sell it for more than you bought it for, regardless of what happened. Player gets injured, sure, but like for the most part, the card values went up. And I think a lot of people who bought cards in that time thought they were really good at the game because of that, when actually they're very bad at the game, but they happen to ride the wave correctly. And the entry into the game now requires skill if you're going to succeed. And I think there were just a lot of people who are still on this platform who really just weren't that good, but I'm probably one of them, just benefited from selling cards for way more than they should have gone for, and then turning that into something sorry, using sustainable again.
Hey, you can say
this is us being sustainable, not anyway. Major MT said market credits in football were a W.
Yeah. Agreed.
Blue Tomato said the last real one was the invention of Go Fuck, which is that was a good one. Oh, I meant to do this earlier. ZM Star, their response to asking when the last time the community got a W was, quote, "Thank you for the feedback. Myself and the team are looking into this." That's a great line.
That's awesome.
But you mentioned to me before the show that the situation we find ourselves in now was spoken about on this channel. Might not have even been on this channel. Might have been over at the RotoWire soccer
It was on
channel.
RotoWire, yeah.
Yeah. 3-4 years ago.
Right. Are you wanting me to talk?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Evaldo he did say that like Sorare will never make the mistake again where the community makes all the money and not them. And we've hit that point. We're at the point now where, and granted, like I don't know that that's even wrong. Their business, right? But we're at a point where if anything happens, influx of users, any outside sources, Sorare is positioned in a way where they're going to be the ones that make all the money.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you know, like that's an argument for that people are going to be on both sides of that argument, whether, you know, it should be the community, reward your community, whatever. And I think, you know, like we'll be in a good shape if that ever happens because
Mm-hmm.
prices of cards go up. We have cards, whether it's classic, in season, whatever. But Sorare is positioned in a way they're going to be the ones that reap all of the, you know, 90% of it, whatever.
So I forget which show it was that you were referring to, but if anybody goes back, you'll find them somewhere. It's probably near the beginning of the SorareAndrews playlist. But the point was basically during the Gary V boom, Sorare didn't auction cards enough. And so when all of these users came in to buy cards, they had to go to the secondary market. And so people were paying like 98, 99 ETH for João Felix rares, and only the strongest position people held out for 100 and still own those cards. But the point was basically that they lost out. And literally the words he used were they lost out on millions and millions of dollars by not blasting the market with cards. And the problem was at the time, they just didn't have any.
They didn't have limiteds.
Yeah, they didn't have limiteds, and there just weren't that many teams on the platform that people were like dying to get. And so, like, I remember the second time Evaldo came on, I watched this the other day. So during the Gary V boom, I think there was an auction every like 3 minutes on Sorare, and limiteds had been going on for like maybe a month or two, maybe a little longer when Evaldo came back. And he was like, I remember he gave you credit for being somebody who like monitored how often they auction cards. And he hadn't been on the platform since it was like, maybe they had reduced it to 2 minutes, and they were like, how often is an auction now? And you were like, every 5 seconds. And he was like, what? And it was like, yeah, that's like, if you want a card, you have to get it from Sorare now. And you don't have to, but like, and that was before all of the collection bonuses and the benefits of getting cards from them. And he was essentially saying, yeah, if there's ever like a run, there's going to be a point where Sorare has to be the one to benefit the most of getting a ton of new users in. And that's literally like, they are the primary market and we are the secondary market. And so people are going to go to them first. Simple as that.
Yeah, they've been telling us this all along.
Right.
Primary and secondary.
Primary and secondary. Yeah. Somebody had another big W. Where did it go? Sorry. Somebody was saying Sorare working with Sorare data on the button was a W.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and that was decently recent. So to me though, yeah, I guess that's a mutual W for both Sorare data and Sorare.
Here we go. Major NFT. Yeah, I mean we couldn't do it without Sorare.
Yeah. You mentioned though, like a lot of the W's that we got taken away. And one of the points I wanted to like expand upon that a little bit was like going through them. It's like, oh, you get all this essence in boxes, great, and then they nerf it. And then what was the other W that we had? Well, one of them is like collection bonuses and collection score and all that. and it's like, oh well, now we have all these in-season requirements and restrictions. So great, your classic collections are now have to be played in classic, and it's just feels less good. And it's like a way for you to force you to keep those cards. And then the last part was rivals, and it's like, yeah, you had already talked about that, nerfing the rivals stuff.
So the collection thing was always like the timing of collections was, or maybe it was, excuse me, the training idea, or is that what it was called?
I don't know.
Fitness. Sorry.
Fitness. Yeah.
So they announced collections and we were all kind of like, oh, you can get 5% bonus. And we were all kind of doing the math a little bit. And some people early on realized like the value in buying cards from the primary market to help with collections. And like, it was obvious that this was a way to get us to buy more cards from Sorare, but it was also like, we're choosing to, because it helps the cards that we have. And like,
yeah,
it felt like, not that it felt like we were being forced to buy them, but if we wanted to play, like you could just buy some, boost your cards a little bit. And then fitness came in like right after that. And the fitness was like, so collection bonus was 5%. I remember the fitness bonus was 10. And we were like, why so much more for that? And it felt like then collections immediately became less important because you were like, oh, I'll just focus on fitness. Like I'll use my money to keep all my guys at top fitness instead of buying collections. And so, yeah, you're right. Like collections were there and they're like, never mind. And then they were like, hey, we're going to reward all the top collectors. Only for this season, though. Not for old ones.
Yeah.
Old ones, you can go fuck yourself. But the new ones, we got jerseys. And then that seemed to disappear too. And yet, like it felt like they were the response to the why can't every top collector get a jersey was we just don't have enough. I'm sorry. And they're like, hey, club shop's closing. We have 48,000 signed jerseys. Does anybody want one? Please, anyone? Does anybody want one? And it's like, what? Where are we going?
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Like I don't want this to all come off as like extremely negative. Like we're just poo-pooing everything and we're just adding and compounding to negative sentiment that's out there. But like, I mean, people are talking about a lot of these things, and you know, like I think a lot of it is justified in a way.
The feedback?
Yeah, just people being upset with things. Like reward pools still being fucked up 5 years down the road is baffling. There's like lots of these like core issues that it's crazy to me that we still haven't wrapped our head around them and got things right. Yeah.
ZM Star was saying that we're actually the tertiary market.
Yeah.
Instant buy auctions and then us.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, instant buy and auctions are basically the same thing.
Instant buys, whoever is reaping the benefits of instant buy or whoever came up with instant buys should have gotten a raise because man, the prices.
I think Dan gets a bonus every time somebody hits the instant buy button.
Who does?
Paul or Dan? Yeah.
Just every time.
Starting these horrible rumors.
No, I don't like trying to tell people how to feel about things, but I do know because I've done this to other people when they're like, this makes me feel bad. And I'm like, then I try to explain like what they're upset about is actually more of a them problem than the game's problem. And people don't want to hear that. So I just stopped doing it. But I think there are the reward thing that you just mentioned, like it's wild. It's wild how we still have, like, do you think somebody works on it regularly?
No. God, no. If they do, then that's sad.
What do you think they focus on reward wise that means that they're not actually looking at who is being rewarded.
I don't know. I won't speculate there. I just like the essence pools are just as bad as the reward pools. Are they the same thing? Maybe.
They're made by the same people.
There was nothing more triggering to me than saving up 250 essence layered and pulling some guy that hasn't been a tier 2 since, like I think it was like 2022 or something. And
I mean, I did the same thing. 250 essence, and I got a card worth like $18.
Yeah. And then I watched you on stream yesterday, Laird, spend 20 freaking essence and pulling Luis Diaz. I hate you.
So it's really
I want to be you, man.
What's funny about that, when I crafted that card, it took me like way too long to realize that I knew who Luis Diaz. Like I immediately was like, oh, Luis Diaz, and then I was like, oh, that's my card, because there was 0.0001% chance that I was not going to be upset about whatever not even upset, just being like, all right, yeah, another piece of shit. And instead I was like, hey, I know that guy.
And I think the same day I read that tweet about the content creator that got all the reward, like the free commitches, not free, but they
were free.
Well, yeah, they were like you won the card and a commit. And he got like 3 of them or something. And it was like the same day I read that, and I was just like, it made me so mad. It's like I worked my ass off, I grinded, worked every week, got all this essence, and $12.
The funniest part, because I'm not you, so I wasn't feeling this, is that for the last month or two, every time somebody asks a question in a Discord that we're in, like, when's the best time to craft? And you were like, stop focusing on when and just focus on crafting good cards. You're like the best thing to do.
I stand by that statement.
Yeah. If you're going to craft a card, just make sure it's a good one. Like this is Andy's advice.
Agreed.
And then you crafted a bad card.
And
I was just curious why you didn't. Like, there are plenty of people who like give advice, but then like do something else.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious why in this instance that you.
Because I'm a total hypocrite. Yeah. Total hypocrite. That's it. That's all there is to it.
Pico player said they are monitoring, not working on the prize pools.
I think that's the term I've heard as well. Yeah.
Daniel said, for essence, did Peter ever make an estimated value of a card in each craft tier? Something that would be very, very hard to do. It's actually not that hard. And I think he did do it. And you basically go from contender, which is absolutely worthless, and then you move your way up. So the essence discussions last week were a lot about the percentage of tier 1s and stars 1, but I want to know what value in money that averages out to. I don't know. Do you know who the head of football is at the moment? I don't. Like, isn't Guy I don't know if Guy is product head, but
yeah, I don't know.
I assume it's Guy.
Yeah, that's
or he's like gameplay though. They have like a marketplace team.
Let's just say it's Guy.
Yeah. Get him. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Ryan Dino said, surely the like of the 3 Kimmiches isn't people being negative, but instead highlighting a major flaw. Blue Tomatoes, hashtag craft better. Craft good. The head of football is DNP. That's a pretty good line. ZM Star's on fire today. I don't know. But the prize pool stuff, man, I really I don't feel bad talking about the prize pool, but we don't get anywhere because they're not getting anywhere on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like such a stale discussion that we've had, probably talked about for, I don't know, forever.
Long time. So Andy, I have some data that I'm not going to share right now because I don't have it organized that well.
So
But
we're going to talk about data that you're not going to share?
yes, but
Okay.
I was looking at, is this going to come? Oh, there it is. Let me see. I tried to basically, you know, like on the Sorare Data rewards page, we have like the value of cards.
Yeah.
So I was doing the very dangerous thing of figuring out how many like actual DNPs they're giving out. And I'm doing this because of a DNP that I won last week as a tier 3. Because he made one start as a backup. He's actually the third string backup, or third string, excuse me. And I guess the starter and the backup were out. And it's just not a fun exercise to realize like how many cards in not like, I think everybody kind of assumes tier 4 and 5s are like, oh, guys that like don't play that much, but it's like actually guys that do not play. And then 3 is they've made an appearance in the last 5 years. It's scary. That's all.
Yeah, or they're on loan from a bigger club and they're like either haven't broken into the team yet or whatever. Like there's lots of weird transfer type stuff there. Or they used to be on a bad team and now they're on a good team, but now they're mistiered.
Yeah, let me see. Here it is. Like, and I tweeted this and I apologize for bringing it up because it sounds like I'm just complaining, which I absolutely am. But I don't know how something like this happens. So like, and I appreciate that I don't know if this was a tier 3 or a tier 2. This was Contender Division 3. No, I'm sorry, Contender Division 2. And I won a tier 3. But like when you look at all of this, like the top of the tier 3, first one was $31 and mine was $387. And like even the guys below it were, so like how does this guy get in the pool at all? Oh, because he has an L15 of 90.
I love that he's got an L15 of 90. That's
90.
That's incredible.
Can't even use him in cap
He
mode.
should be a star. Why does Sorare not have this guy as a star?
Yeah, you want Biscagli? Why not Bobby Elaine?
Yep. Stars will be stars. Look at him.
But like, how does this happen? That it's so out of whack.
Why don't? Have they ever just considered not sucking, or ever considered using your guys's like data here?
I mean, we have the same data.
No, no.
We get the data from them.
Clearly, they are not using the same data for their prize pools.
Well, like this run up here is why he moved up. The problem is that I won him after he had sold for that's weird, £3.
Yeah. Well, that's weird. That was to a bot. Bologna won the $3 one.
Oh yeah, even better.
Yeah.
And guess what? The floor is now lower than where Bologna bought.
That's incredible.
I don't understand how that happens.
Yeah, like I wonder what I was trying to say, Laird, was I wonder why they don't just use your guys's like valuations and just reward based on that.
They could use they could be using the same valuations. I don't know.
No, because they use something weird where it looks, they've said this in the past, that they use a combination of like form and like valuation.
I think part of it is that they clearly use private offers also. And we've had some where like a player that trades for less than $1, and then there's like some scam where somebody sold it for $50 and they're like, oh, maybe he's a star now.
Yeah.
Like I appreciate not like you can't go through the list. You can't individually check every single player when there are literally like thousands of players being checked. But like a spreadsheet that just shows that this value is $3.87 and everyone around it is at least 4x,
Yeah.
you should just be like, oh, maybe that one's a little off.
Right. And I mean, like, in the grand scheme of things, I realize you probably don't even really care. It's like $9. Like, who cares? But it's like the principle of the
It's
matter.
absolutely the principle.
And you know that this isn't just happening on a tier 3. We see this happening in star pools, tier 1 pools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pico Player said Sorare data is fine for limited and rare, but super rare is tricky. I totally agree with that. Like the super rare and unique pricing is just absurd regardless.
It's so broken, and the fact they won't admit that it's so broken is just
I think they've admitted it.
Have they?
Yeah. I think the problem is
they don't know how to fix it.
They really have no idea how to fix it. And I'm not saying that like the community is filled with great ideas.
No.
So it's not like they're ignoring the obvious good answer, but there really is no answer.
Yeah.
And it feels like they're kind of waiting for us to give them the answer. Not Sorare data, but like the community. Like
the community's already sort of given them the answer. They just the community. We've sold super rares down to where they're, damn near worthless.
That's not a solution, though.
The market has spoken.
Yeah, but that's not a solution to making them better.
Well, it's telling them like it's definitely a cue to them that, hey, this is a more scarce product. It should be worth more money, and they're leaving money on the table.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question that they know that people should be, or that they want people paying more for super rares. But like McBride's whole thing was like, yeah, just give us cash. And it's like, you're just not going to do it.
Right.
And one person from Sorare, who I will spare saying their name, was like, no. In-season super is the best ROI on the platform. Told us that, I think they told us that Sorare actually lose money on super rare in-season prize pools because they don't sell super rares for enough. And part of me was like, that's your problem.
Right.
Like, they were like, no. Like, that's our W, being able to buy cheap super rares and win cash. And it was like,
I do believe that sounds right, that they're losing money on some of those competitions.
Harry Trades just hoovering up all that cash.
And
Mike said,
Guy.
What's that?
And Gator Guy.
Yeah, that's right. Mike said they could at least make sure tier 0 and tier 1 pools are realistic, even if they can't do all. Start off with smaller prize pools and keep trying things until something works. Appears not tried at all. So, but like everything I hear is they keep trying new things. Game's changing every day.
Yeah.
I just find the glaring mistakes to be glaring. Like, that's the problem, is that within half a second, anyone who regularly plays Sorare is like, oh, that's not right. And yet it happens every single game week.
Yeah. I think one of the things that bothers me so much too is like, I think that they were really, really close to having the prize pools really, I don't want to say perfect because they'll never be there, but before they introduced DMPs, right before it, there was like a 2 or 3 month period where I think people were really happy. Like they had finally gotten it right. Not saying pull the DMPs out, but maybe separate them somehow.
So I wish there was more regular clarity on the prize pool. And what I mean with that is, we all know that, or we've been told at one point, I don't know if it's in an official Sorare blog somewhere. I feel like it is, but I know it's definitely been answered on Twitter and Discord, which is a terrible place to answer. But like, what percentage of the prize pool is a star? Like I think it's like I think it was 4%, 4.9% maybe. And I remember when they moved it from 10% to 4.9, that's when we were like, the stars are stars. Like just what you were saying, like before the DNPs were included.
Yeah.
But what I would love to see every week is how many players are in the prize pool and see the exact breakdown of like who's in the star, who's in tier 1. And it just gives us a little more clarity of what we're dealing with, because when we see the tier 3 pool and you're just like, how are there 17,000 players in like I don't think people appreciate like how many players are like how many player cards or players, excuse me, are on Sorare and then are part of the prize pool and are then having to be distributed every week. But I realized it when where did I
Larry, what's the best DNP card on the platform?
Like right now?
Yeah.
I mean, it's somebody big who's hurt.
Yeah.
Like it's not like a young guy from, I don't know.
A young guy from anywhere, because we know that those in-season cards aren't worth anything.
Yeah, maybe Rodri. Yeah, Rodri's probably the answer.
Yeah. Okay. What would you think if all tier 5s were just those cards, and a tier 5 craft was that pool?
So I think when people asked for DNP rewards, that's what they wanted.
Yeah.
So the issue, there's two issues basically with how they implemented it and how it's still implemented.
Mm-hmm.
One of the issues is when we wanted DNP rewards, we didn't really want them. Like we wanted Rodri, and Florian Wirtz was the one at the time. And it was,
you didn't want all those third string goalkeepers, is what you're saying? You didn't want those?
No. And so I feel like we were like, hey, it'd be really cool to win like Florian Wirtz. I know he's hurt and you guys don't want to put them in, but like it'd be cool if we could have some DNP rewards. And Sorare's like, we got you.
And they're like, huge W for the community. And we're like,
huge
yes!
W. You asked, we delivered.
And now we're like, no.
Yeah. And so where did I win this? All-Star Special. Hold on, sorry. Game week 22. Because I wanted to go through this prize pool. But anyway, so that was the problem. The other problem that we had came from the fact that they is that rewards are based off of values. So like they can say like form or whatever else contributes to how a player is put in a prize pool. But they're put in a prize pool because of their price. And we all pretty much want it that way. The problem is that it feels like they kind of ignore the fact that DNP players don't get traded that often. And so they're like, no, last sale was $300. And you're like, that was 4 months ago, or 4 weeks ago, whatever it is. And without the liquidity, it just kills it. But so I finished somewhere highly. Where is this? I finished second in some All-Star last 2 weekends ago. Maybe a weekend. I don't even know. And
I can't wait to see this reward.
I think I've shown it already. But I was like, all right. So I finished second and I got a tier 2 super rare. And I was like, oh, let me go to the tier 2 pool. And you just scroll through. And if you just look at like up here, sorry, like here, you can see the little, like, what is this even called? Like a progress. Yeah. It's not a progress bar.
It's a bar.
It's a bar.
Scroll bar.
So this is tier 2. Tier 2. Where you have like Zaire Emery, Kang-In Lee, like, oh, those guys, Leao, we know these guys.
Right.
And you're just like, all right, Berghuis and Rashford, like, oh, I know these guys. And you're just like, and I was like, I wonder where mine is.
Yep. And even like down in here, it's like there's still names that you recognize.
Yeah, De Kuiper.
Yeah.
Van Crombrugge, like, here we go. Julian Green. And then I was just like, all right, let me just go a little further. And this is tier 2, not tier 5.
It's so
Tier
absurd.
2.
It's so
Sorry,
bad.
for those of you who are listening, I'm like literally still, I just got about 2/3 of the way down. Oh, here's the guy I won. How about that? Nehuen Perez, right behind Mike Penders, who has not played all season because he's behind Van Cromberge. I would have loved this card, Haspelat. Just still going, Andy. Still going. And then we finally get to the bottom. Kevin Danso from Lawns. Echeverry would have been awesome too, actually. And then it's like, so my question is like, why are there that many players in tier 2? And somewhere the answer is like, well, we have 10,000 players in the pool, and that's just the middle 12% or whatever the hell it is. And I think that's like transparency that I think would benefit all of us.
Yeah. I feel like that number should also be lower though. Like the tier 4 and tier 5 pools should be the big ones. Like those should be massive.
They probably are. I didn't even look. Like we can scroll through it, but like we're not going to know any of these players. But it's long.
Seems just as big. Maybe it's bigger. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. We don't know.
You're not going to count these for us?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like even the star pool is not small. I don't know. But I think it would at least provide some clarity of we're distributing X number of rewards based off of this player pool. And when everyone's like, wow, that's a lot of players. And they're like, yeah, there are a lot of players on Sorare. And we're like, okay, great. Major MT said the DMP issue is how long people are out because you're losing in-season usage, which is also totally underappreciated, I feel like.
Yeah. It's like, oh, cool, you won Rodri. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's a classic Rodri.
Yeah, right. Skazmo said we could even easily have like 10 tiers. Everything that Sorare do is so rigid because it must be until it's untenable in absolute crisis mode, then panic react to the community demands. Like, I don't know if more tiers is necessary, only because like it's
Tiers
just one giant list.
They just set expectations is all a tier does. Is they set expectations.
Right.
If you win a tier 10, just expect dog shit.
So if there were 10 tiers, how many of the tiers would you expect to get a usable player?
Probably like the top 5.
So like right now, we have 6 tiers. Star 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
And I would argue that star 1 and 2 probably have playable players.
Yeah.
And 3 is where it's just a total. Like 3 seems too early to get players who do not play.
Yeah. I think part of that is game design too, right? Like threshold mode made some of those cards usable.
Right.
Not saying that like needs to come back, but if there was a regular cap based weekly whatever, it might make some cards a little more useful, I guess.
Wait, if they did what?
If they had like a regular cap mode, it would make those tier 3 cards at least have some sort of value. Like if that was just a standard competition every week, cap 240, or even cap 270, to be honest.
That's this. You're the second person I've seen bring that. It was like a active discussion today.
I wouldn't even. I think lots more than 2 people have talked about that for months now.
Yeah, like you don't need. Oh, Mattiador said Control F and left, and that'll tell us how many players are in the pool. That's smart. Unless there's somebody with a name like Leftowich, and then we're like, now the numbers are all wrong. Anyway, it felt like Sorare, when they got rid of Threshold, was like, oh yeah, we got to get rid of cap modes, and everyone's like, Like I don't.
Cat modes are fun.
I don't know how much I like cat modes, to be honest. I love 240, but it was because it was easy money.
Sure.
I don't know, like if there was a regular cat mode I would play, but I
Yeah,
also
maybe the
think
special
that
weekly. Do you play it?
I mean I would play it because I have too many cards not to play it.
Right.
Like,
and I think that's another big part of it is just like having somewhere to put cards.
but we don't have enough rewards, Andy. You can't just add in All-Star every week.
Yeah.
So Blue Tomato said, what would it change if they tell us there's so many players in tier 2 because they have licensed 12,000 players? I would say nothing. I think it just gives us a better idea. I mean, maybe they only need to do it once of how many cards, like why is this guy in here? And you're like, well, he's in the top 12% of our entire prize pool. I think the reason they don't do that is because it exposes like just how many cards are worthless on this platform. Brazil wants shit-ealers.
We all do.
Surajesh said the unique tier is a mess. Last week's 260 unique had players whose limited is worth 50p in the same tier 1 pool as Kimmich and Salah. I don't look at uniques at all, so I can't speak to that. I do know that every time there's like an absurd one, I get a DM from Sean that's like, can you believe this? And it was like,
yeah. And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I can. And uniques have a unique problem of just having, one of each of those cards. And it makes it really difficult. I guess difficult for them to properly reward people.
I think you could also make the argument, though, that because the player pool is so small in terms of what they're giving away, that
you could plan the whole year out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least a month.
Yeah.
Like I think it was Skazmo who told me, I forget what competition it was, but like 2 game weeks ago, like maybe it was the Cap 260 one, that like both rewards they gave out were DNPs. And it was like for unique. Like I was saying, like there are not enough unique rewards every week to not have somebody be able to just manually look at it. Like they're reviewing, like how many uniques do they give out in a game week? 10? 12? Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, either it's not somebody's job or somebody doesn't care.
Yeah,
or they think that giving out a DNP is like fine.
That's what we wanted, Andy.
We wanted those DNPs, baby.
We got a W by getting our DNP rewards. I think the frustrating thing about the rewards is that it feels like they think they're okay, or it's one of those weird things that we don't need an update all the time of like, yeah, we're still working on it, but it's been like 3 years and I feel like it's time for an update.
Yeah. I think the most frustrating part is a DMP reward is now just a classic card, which means it's automatically worth less than what they think it's worth because it's basically a classic card. Like if they're a backup goalie now, they're not playing. Unless you get lucky and there's an injury or something, or if it's a player with a long-term injury, even like a short-term injury that cuts directly into their in-season utility. And again, maybe it's not a classic card, but it's halfway there. Living on a prayer.
Would you rather a DNP that could play next season or a player who scores 30 consistently?
So would I rather have a classic card or a good classic card, I guess, or a player that scores 30? I guess I'll take the classic card. I guess. I don't know. Dude, that's like one of those questions like would you rather like 2 horrible things? We'll save the two we'll save the two horrible would you rather things for Sorare After Dark tonight.
Oh, there you go.
Mhm.
Oh no, error led to goal. When cat modes.
Yeah.
It's always nice when you see a 12-point score in five different
five
lineups.
Yeah, lovely.
Love it. Skazma said 100%. You just know that Sorare is sitting there. Quote, but what if you won Fabianski as a tier 4? It's a great opportunity, ignoring the other 99.99% time it sucks. I'm not saying that tier 4s and 5s need to be good. In fact,
no, in fact, they shouldn't be good.
They shouldn't be good. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
But it's the frustrating, unusable tier 2 and tier 3s that.
Yeah. Yep. You finally did well enough to win a tier 2 or tier 3, and you're like, oh, it's a classic card. I want a classic card.
So you keep going back to that. I actually don't mind the good injured player. Obviously, it sucks because they're injured.
Right.
But mine is like the ones who do not play somehow being in the pool.
Yeah.
And
you're like,
can't take
hey, that's a classic card too, Laird.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Yeah. I do think though that what you kind of said earlier of like, should Rodri be in tier 5? That provides absurd excitement for somebody if they hit that.
Yeah. Goose J said NBA lineups are cap modes only. What about only cap modes? I think that Sorare just loses money.
Yeah.
Because you have, your whales that like your Seans and your JR Dukes that are just going to buy 5 Mbappes or whatever. And now you're telling them they can't do that. Like, even if you did something where like NBA where they have like the MVP of the lineup or whatever, and it doesn't count against your cap score, still they're capping their upside.
Yeah, for sure. Graham said we now have 3 months of MLS and J League cards being given out as in-season rewards. Can they still do them if the season's over? I mean, I know MLS and J League aren't technically over yet, but I don't expect them. Like, they were very clear that if a team is playing, like, that's when they're in the reward pool. Excuse me. And then they seem to also back off of that very quickly, but only on Discord.
Yeah.
I remember, like, it was very clear that during a game week, only the players' team, like only the teams that were playing were going to be rewarded.
Yeah.
And they very quickly realized that they couldn't do that.
Well, I know, Laird, you can craft cards of players that aren't playing, because I saved up for a tier 1 or 2 limited, and I crafted a Carlos Gil. Yes.
Congratulations.
For sale for $4. $4 if anybody wants them.
Is it really $4?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Maybe it's $4.50. Something like that, yeah.
Oh, I'm out then.
Yeah. And all the offers I've gotten are like $2.20.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
There you are. You're the floor. Do you think that's enough below? Oh, there's an auction, excuse me. So, like, your problem here is that I can get this card for half price and get some collection bonus.
Oh, with your market credits.
Right.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
Andy, what do you think your card was worth that you just won? If instead of being card 541,
I didn't win him, I crafted him.
Sorry, crafted.
Yeah.
Back to you only craft good cards. What do you think this card is worth? Oh, Andy just had enough. Didn't even want to talk about it.
That's such a you're poking me, man. I only craft good cards, really. Really?
What do you think this card is worth if instead of you winning card 541, it was 941?
I don't get it.
Like, if there was almost double the supply, do you think this card is even worth $1?
Oh, there's still some inherent value to that card, I guess. I would probably do a giveaway.
Okay, that's fair. Boulder Crypto said they'd give you 108 for it.
Sounds like the type of offer that would come from a sissy dragon, but
Scosmo's trying to come up with more cap mode ideas. What if the goalie didn't count? Captain is free, so you select who you want it to be cap free and the bonus on them. Reduce the captain bonus back to 20%, and it's more jeopardy with the double impact, less score variance. Less score variance is not what they're looking for.
Yeah. It seems complicated.
While we're on the hot button topics here,
what
do you think about divisions?
I see the pros and I see the cons. I'm not. I won't really take a stance on divisions, just because like I do see the benefits of them. But then when I hear, you know what? No, I like divisions. And then when I hear Sean complain about it, I just roll my eyes. Yeah, divisions are great. Divisions are a W.
I saw a fantastic line on, I think it was Twitter. Yeah, it was Twitter. That somebody was like, I think divisions are great, but I really don't like relegations. And I was like, okay.
You know what? I only really like promotions.
Yeah.
I don't like the relegation part. Can we get rid of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the divisions are great. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the bad part, I don't.
Just get rid of the relegation part.
Yeah. Just for me, though. Everybody else. So Ryan Dino said they're willing to do 110 for that Carlos Hill, and Mikey Basson's up to 120.
The first person to offer me $2, I'll click accept. Go.
Wow.
Laird, one of the best comments that I saw on one of your streams recently was from Nanzo. He mentioned that divisions just force everyone to have 3 teams.
Yes.
For a region, and I think that nails it. That's 100% right.
Why do you think that?
Because it allows you to like stream your best matchups, stream your best players, stream everything.
You can do that with one lineup.
Yeah, but then you're either buying and selling nonstop, or like, hey, you already have 12 players. Why don't you just get the goalkeepers to make lineups?
I was just walking into the whole but I want to play my cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said $2.
Punching bag. Whoever that is offered me $2.17.
Sold?
Human punching bag now has Carlos Gill.
Wow.
That's a great club name, the Human Punching Bag.
Man,
we all feel like that at times, right?
Andy, how do you feel about single-handedly lowering people's gallery values by
I feel really good about that.
Crushing the Carlos Hill limited floor.
Carlos Gill or a bag of chips on my way home from work tonight? Actually, I don't even think I can buy a bag of chips for.
I was going to say, I don't think 217 gets me. Yeah. The fee's getting it off.
Yeah.
Do you think that we ever get to a point in Sorare that it becomes at least popular enough that you could go to a store and buy chips and move the money from one Sorare account to another to pay for them?
No.
No. Okay.
That's the most absurd thing I've ever heard. And I think I've said that before.
Like, I don't have my wallet, but can I transfer this Carlos Hill card to you for these Doritos?
What can I get for a Carlos Gill limited right now for $2.20 something cents? I guess that's like a Snickers bar at the gas station.
Probably. Oh my God, Andy, you are what's wrong with this platform.
Good. He deserves it.
Look at this.
Now, would it have been better if I had him send me a custom series card with it?
Yes.
Keep it off of there?
Yes. ZM Star said you're crashing the chips and Snickers market right now.
It depends on the chips. Have you ever had those? It's the like the puff, like the I think they're like butter puffs from. It's got like the Cheetos guy on it. They're like corn puffs basically, and they're so good.
Like Cheetos?
Yeah, but they're like butter flavored. Dude, they're like 99 cents or $1.99. They're so good. Always at the gas station. I think it's Mr. Chester's.
I don't know those.
Come on.
Might say Carlos is going to drop to tier 4 now because of you.
That would be pretty funny.
But imagine how excited somebody will be when they.
Dude, I'll feel so good. I'll feel so good when that happens. Yeah.
2 butter puffs for a gill sounds like a good deal.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I don't know. They dropped his brother too, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. I think he was just awful as well.
As well?
As well, I said it.
How much of your Carlos Heel opinion is based on Sean's opinion? It's like all of okay.
No, not all of it. I think he's like a career loser. I think that he.
Which one? Is that? Are you talking about Sean or are you talking about Carlos? Carlos Heel.
Carlos.
Okay.
I love Sean.
Okay.
But I think that he's just an awful human being. So. Yeah.
So
very selfish. He hates the snow. I don't like anything about him.
The career loser thing. You realize that like he was on that team that had like the most points in history, right?
Yeah, like it's more of this, Laird. Like he had the potential, to play in Europe, and he comes back over here, and basically he's sandbagging and comes over here and decides to be like have no ambition and play on this shitty team in New England and their shitty stadium, and just like he's a loser. He needs to go back. We need to deport him, send him. Wait, no, sorry. This is Sorare After Dark content.
Wrong show. Bruzel said a bag of chips for Carlos. Yeah. One might say Nacho Gil. Why did this take me so long?
Yeah, wow. It was out there for everyone. Yeah, this is the hill to die.
This is the hill to die on. Oh man, live chat is on fire today. It's just great. Oh, I like this. Cosmo said Carlos Heel competes. He doesn't compete.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Like honestly, he's going to be the type of player that he'll either play for New England for the rest of his career, but I could totally see him playing on one of these contender teams. He's totally a contender type of guy. Like him and Cecina probably will play together at some point.
I need Cecina to play this weekend. Actually, speaking.
Yeah, that's a little bit of Cecina hate.
Sheesh. Yeah, I won't stand for that.
Yeah, I'll throw a little out there.
No, that's uncalled
for. Is that like talking bad about Hans Van Aken?
Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just don't do it.
I better be careful.
Yeah. You check yourself. Yeah, next time you crack, you're going to get a Cecina next time. So, all right, sorry, last thing though.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone 69 minutes, so it's been a while.
Yeah.
Nice. Has your negative crafting experience changed your crafting strategy? And I don't mean the strategy about crafting good cards, the strategy of when you're going to craft.
I don't know. I think the only thing that might change my crafting strategy is the frequency that I earn essence. And that seems like it's going to be a slower burn.
Right.
That said, I don't know what I'm doing right now. I rage essence, or I rage crafted all of my essence after I crafted a bad card, and then I crafted more bad cards. So I completely went the other way on the advice that I was giving out to people. Mm-hmm. I just crafted all bad cards.
Was that strategy to like get the bad cards out of your system? And then the next, like, now you got a clean slate to only try.
Yeah, like in warm-ups before a game, you know, you're taking
Get your
your
misses
shots
out.
on goal. You're making sure you're spraying them all over the place. Get them out of your system.
Yeah.
That's exactly that.
That is sharp. That is really sharp.
Yep.
Huh. All right. I love it. I love it. Well, on that advice, thank you to everybody for coming. If you could please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny. Mike says, do what Black says, not what Black does.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everyone for coming. Don't forget to get your step. Oh.
Quick plug for Sorare After Dark.
Oh yeah, please. Sorry, that's my fault.
There will absolutely be some kind of beer drinking competition. It's going to have Alistair from Sorare Down Under. Jimmer will be there. It's going to be absolutely nonsense, and it's probably someone is going to get offended at some point before the end of it.
I'm excited. So it's like 7 a.m. for Alistair?
Yeah, he's going to be drinking in the morning.
Yeah, okay.
He's day drinking. He's day drinking.
Does Cosmo need to go to Donski's?
Maybe.
Is Cosmo going to be on?
Maybe he is. I don't know.
Oh, this is great. I'm so excited. Anyway, thank you everyone for coming. Get your steps in.
Welcome to the SorareAndrews show, where we talk fantasy football, but you never know. We'll start with the game, but we'll soon go astray on topic discussions as we play. We'll analyze the teams, the formation and goals, but in no time we'll digress into other roles, talking about our favorite foods and the shows we've seen, our opinions aloud, and our voices on me. It's the SorareAndrews show. Anything goes, from fantasy football to rock and roll. We may start with the pitch, but it's just a small part. We'll venture off topic, let the conversation spark. It's the SorareAndrews show.